everyone. Change is inevitable. Growth is optional. I'd say that's kind of the theme for this podcast episode. Between the NORI, the ever-constant strive for a new airframe, and the recent announcement of an upcoming change of command, I'd say the MAINEiacs are faced with change and growth on a regular basis. But I'm not going to talk about the NORI, and I'm certainly not going to talk about the KC-46. Probably the last person you want to talk about that with. KC-46? Is that a mirrorless camera by Fuji? No, dude, it's an airplane. Oh, shoot, okay. This podcast is all about bringing in the subject matter experts, or SMEs, for those of you that love acronyms. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to hear from Colonel Gillis, 101st Airfield Wing Commander. Let's talk about the upcoming change of command. He is no stranger to you, to me, to anybody at the wing. At least I hope not at this point. Here for the podcast. Colonel, thanks for joining us today.
Yeah, happy to be here.
And from my understanding, I mean, we've been pretty busy. You guys have been very busy. We as a wing have been pretty busy, but from my understanding, we have some somewhat biggish news, right? What's going on?
Yeah, certainly do. You talk about being busy, and at the all call we had last September, I kind of laid out the next 18 months, and we're about 12 months into that, and been doing a lot of stuff. Getting ready for the NORI, the nuclear operational readiness inspection, and now that that's over, we've kind of hinted, at least Command Chief Niederowski's been hinting at my impending retirement. That date is set for 1 April of 24. So, that's looming in the future here. And so the big news that we announced last week at Stand Up, and TAG pushed it out last Thursday, is the selection of our next wing commander. And that is Colonel Byron Newell. He is not a MAINEiac as of yet. He's been out at Air Mobility Command and U.S. Transcom, working as a guard advisor out there. So he brings that national level experience to the table, and he's a Missouri Guardsman. So he'll be leaving the Missouri Guard and becoming a MAINEiac here in the next couple of months. And expect him to be on station the end of October, and looking at a change of command probably in November.
Wow.
Still trying to work out details for that.
Wow, that's crazy. So what, you've obviously met this gentleman before. Is he, can you give us a little insight as to what's he like? Is he... Several months ago, I talked to, several groups, and maybe even mentioned it here on the podcast, that, the search for the next wing commander is looking for somebody that has the MAINEiac values, that understands MAINEiac traditions and our history, our work ethic, what we're about. And I can tell you that Colonel Newell is that person. Very, I would say, easygoing. Easy to work with. I've worked with him on several projects, through AMC, and been out, to see AMC and work with him in that regard. So both myself and General Roy certainly have some experience with Colonel Newell. So, I think he's going to bring a fresh perspective to the wing. As I talk with him, I think one of the terms he uses is he is humbled to have this opportunity. I can hear him and understand what he means by that he isn't looking to come and change the face of the organization and change what we do. He's coming to become one of us, and to move the organization forward in a positive way. So, for that, I'm really excited about this opportunity, and the ability for him to come in, bring that national level perspective to the KC-46, as we're competing for that, to bring that national perspective as we look at doing more up in the Arctic and operating up there. So, again, just some great opportunities there. Is he a Does he come from a tanker background? Is he C-130 or?
So he's actually started in the Navy, flying off of boats, C-2s, and then moved into the Missouri National Guard, flying C-130s. He's been 06 level commander there, and brings that experience with him. He is currently qualified in the KC-135. He's flying with the Illinois Guard out of Scott, and he's actually been here in Bangor flying with us. He flew, I believe, back in June. Came up for a visit as part of his U.S. Transcom duties, and flew with us for a sortie. So
that's awesome.
And I think that's some of the goodness, is that he brings the perspective of a different weapon system to the command, and can provide that goodness there. As you look at bringing a commander from outside, we have not done that in our 76 years of being an Air National Guard unit. We've never brought an outsider in to take command of the wing. But I'll tell you that this wasn't a push necessarily. Colonel Newell has already had an 06 command, already doing great things out at AMC. He was looking for an opportunity to do something more. And he wasn't on any command list anywhere that, this person's got to go out in the enterprise and get command. He'd already done that. So this was more of a pull. He was interested in coming up to a wing, spending some time back out in a line unit from Air Mobility Command. And timing just happened to work where it worked well for him to come with us. And, as I say, he likes to say he's humbled for the opportunity, which, tells me that he understands what kind of organization he's coming to work with.
Yeah. And I think that his, the fact that he has a prior service experience, plus having been so many years in the Guard as well. It's not like he's coming straight from active duty. He's got to also learn how to be a guardsman as well as a MAINEiac, as well as the 101st Airfield Commander. Like he already, like you said, has done that. So I feel like that's a huge advantage over maybe some other situations that other units have gone through. I think it's exciting. I mean, as much as it, for lack of a better term, sucks to see you not be in the seat anymore. I think it's exciting that we're going to have somebody, an outsider, come in and kind of be our new leader. And his, I'm anxious to see what his leadership styles are like and what his perspectives are. And like you said before, what kind of fight is he going to bring for that competition for the 46? And does he seem motivated, or not motivated, but does he seem like eager to, chomping at the bit to help us fight for the 46, or how's that been?
I would say that, in our conversations, he's not eager to change the direction of the Maine Air National Guard. And by that, I mean, he's not going to come in and move our strategic direction 90 left or 90 right. He's going to help us, minor course corrections to get to where we want to go. And he certainly understands that KC-46 is kind of in the forefront of that strategic initiative. And like I mentioned, the Arctic and doing more mission sets kind of outside of the normal. So yeah, in that regard, I think he's really eager to get in. I anticipate that the first few months are just going to be him learning the organization, right? And he certainly understands that. We've talked about that, and I think in that regard, you won't see any great changes, right? No, nothing's going to change dramatically in the first few months, and really, I don't think the organization will see any dramatic changes through his tenure, because we've set a decent course, and I think it's going to be those small tweaks to get to better. Maybe looking at some of the mission sets that maybe we haven't looked at as much in the past. He's bringing that fresh perspective and understanding too that at a national level, maybe this new mission set is very, very important, and it's a niche mission that we can get into. He's going to bring that to us, and so like I said, I'm really eager for that opportunity to see what he brings.
I think that is coming in at a cool time too. Like not only the 46 deal, but the EOD flight, or it's a flight, right? Not a squadron.
Yes.
EOD flight that we acquired that, and then just the fact that I think that we're at a cool spot right now. Especially coming off the NORI, right? That we're all kind of reblued and ready to go, and now we get to kind of experience what he has to bring to the table, which is all. I never used to be a huge fan of constructive criticism, and I guess is kind of how I view this whole thing. Is now we're going to have a new boss that has a fresh perspective, has years of experience, and is going to bring something new to the table, and that to me is exciting. I can see why to some people maybe it wouldn't, because not everybody likes change, as you probably have heard or know. But as long as everybody's on the same page, and I think as a leader, that's probably going to be a no-brainer for him, right? Right.
Yeah, and in that regard, one of the things I talked about at Stand Up last week was that General Roy, General Barassa are still going to be in place. I'm going to, as Colonel Newell comes in, I'm going to move to a JFHQ position until I retire, and then we'll see where we go from there. But at that level, at the state level, we're still going to have that connectivity to our strategic direction, to our MAINEiac values, to our MAINEiac traditions, and we can help continue to make sure that above the wing stays in that strategic alignment that I think has been one of our strengths recently. Is as I say, from the airmen all the way up through the state level, all the way to the national level, we're saying the same things, and we're targeting the same initiatives, the KC-46, the Arctic AOR, increasing our ability to do missions anywhere, anytime, our strategic location, here in Bangor, Maine, to support that national defense strategy. So, understand that, I'm moving up and, eventually retiring here, but that legacy, and that alignment will continue. And I think that's a great thing. That is one of the strengths of the Guard, frankly, is that we have that corporate memory. In this instance, somebody new coming in to help us maybe reshape and rethink.
And I guess in a way, like I can't help but picture it or view it as like, if you have, like, what if we were to have a command chief that was from Portland or from JFHQ that were to come up and now become our wing command chief, right? There's no, I don't really see any downside to it. And maybe he doesn't quite know how to be a MAINEiac, but he knows how to be a leader and a manager. And that's what matters. That's going to be definitely huge. How's the feedback been so far?
Feedback's actually been great. And I think we've been kind of messaging this possibility to the wing for 3 or 4 months now. Obviously we've been talking with Colonel Newell and talking with our own folks, trying to figure out, what's the right direction to go. So we've been, I'll say, socializing this idea for a while. And then, certainly with the announcement at Stand Up, I got in front of the crowd and kind of went through some of the things we're talking about here today on the podcast of, the greatness with having somebody come in like this, and the advantages that we can gain out of this, as a wing, the outside perspective, the national perspective, the national contacts, that most of us don't, have coming into the job. Colonel Newell's already going to start with that and can just go from there. So, a lot of goodness. And so, with that, there's a few folks that are kind of like, ooh, I'm a little concerned, but talking with them for a couple of minutes and talking about the things that he brings to the command. Most folks go, hey, that sounds like that makes sense, and this is going to be a great thing. So I've yet to find the person that thinks it's the end of the world.
Yeah, maybe I always like that story. That's I don't even know how many years ago that was now, 7-8 years ago, when then Lieutenant Colonel Netto went down as the interim commander for security forces. Never had been a cop, never had worn the beret, and how that was viewed. And I remember at the time thinking, you know, I was out of the career field at that point, and I remember thinking at the time, like, that's great, because you get somebody who's not used to he was a great leader, great commander, great officer, and great manager, and now that's all he needs to know. He's got people that surround him to tell him how to do the job. As far as being a cop goes, he just needs to know how to be a good colonel, and that's he already knows how to do that. Right. He's going to lead the squadron to good places.
So I think you hit on something there too. Is so over the last year, knowing that I'm getting ready to retire, I've been, you know, trying to select that person that can work with Colonel Newell, you know, or the next wing commander, right? And then, you know, as we're looking somebody from the outside, you know, maybe making sure that we have that right. And I really think Colonel Batchelder is that person, right? Colonel Batchelder has held multiple jobs in multiple groups across the wing. Has a good overall understanding. He's a former IG, so gives him a lot of diverse background, and he can be that, you know, cultural, historical person in the command team. Chief Niederhowski, again, a great command chief. He's staying on. He's going to help bridge that gap and talk about somebody that has that connection to our airmen. Our MAINEiac family. He's all about that and brings that to the command suite. You look at Lieutenant Colonel Brown. She was going to rotate out of the command suite this fall, and she approached me and said, "Hey, is this the right time for me to leave? A new wing commander coming in, should I stay an additional year to help bridge that out?" And, you know, she's on a waiver to be able to fly in that exec position. And so we're going to try and get one more year for a waiver so that she's stable in that position. And, you know, as the exec, she holds the keys to all of our contacts down in DC and at the national level. So, you know, that team, and then you take Master Sergeant Allard, just, you know, incredibly great admin troop helping us out in the command suite. And you drop Colonel Newell into that group, and, you know, give them a couple, 3 weeks to figure each other out, and they're going to be off and running.
That's cool.
Doing great things. So, you know, we've designed that team to be able to just take advantage of each other's strengths and go with it. So, really, again, I can't say it enough. I'm excited to see where the wing goes from here. I just see nothing but positive.
The feedback that you have gotten, has it been from mostly senior leaders, or has it been from kind of the younger generation? Both?
Staff sergeants on up.
Really? Yeah.
Yeah. You know, I've had conversations with some staff sergeants that, you know, don't understand how we got here or what it means. Senior enlisted leaders, some of our squadron commanders. But, you know, again, nothing negative, and usually at the end of the conversation, highly positive. And, you know, from that perspective, I think the wing is very accepting and is ready to think outside of the box and do great things. You know, we do get the question of, you know, who from our organization is being left out. And I would tell you that we have got some highly capable 05 lieutenant colonel rated officers. They're doing great stuff at the squadron command level, and even at the group level. This, you know, having Colonel Newell come in for 2 years is going to give them the opportunity to make those national level contacts, to continue to hone their skills and get even better at their craft, better at command, so that when he leaves, they are ready to step into that wing command role, and won't have the 6 months of learning. They'll already have those national level contacts established. They'll already have figured out what it's like to command at the group level, and be better and just ready to roll. And I think that that room to allow them to grow just a little bit more where they're at now means they'll be that much better when they hit wing command. All along it was never hey, we're in trouble. It was more taking advantage of that opportunity where we've got this high caliber, nationally level, experienced 06 to come in and kind of bridge that gap for us. So again, it's going to get us to greatness. And that's, I think I sound like a broken record. I'm excited about it. I really, truly am.
Well, I think that's important, the fact that you keep reiterating that, because if you're excited about it and we trust you, I think the rest of us are going to be excited about it. For the most part, are going to be pretty excited about it. And you talk about dropping the big news at stand up on last Thursday, but it's I don't know if it was designed by that way or what, but it was that morning before, because I left here and I hadn't even seen the email yet, and I went up a half hour early to make sure the audio equipment was good to go, and then Chief had come up. He said, "Yeah, did you see the emails?" I didn't see it even before I came up here, and it was that recent. And then you come in and have to, you drop the mic.
Well, and that was by design.
It was, okay.
Yeah, it certainly was. It's one thing if, it's the vice wing commanders taking over the job, right? Everybody expects that to happen. And so where it was that outside individual coming in to be a new MAINEiac, we wanted to make sure that we had that message right. And so, the night before, all of the 06 commanders found out. And then that morning the email went out, and, 35 minutes later, I'm talking about it at stand up. And then honestly, the rest of that day,
answering questions or
yeah. And I don't want to make it sound like people were running to the office.
No, I'm sure. Yeah.
But it was more, I made a point to get out around the wing and entice the questions to try and make sure that folks understood. And like I said, most everybody, once they understand what we're talking about, is like, oh, what a great opportunity. Sounds like this is going to be awesome.
You being, again, reiterating that you're excited about it is huge, because how rumors spread and things move on, and if information is left out, and which is not what's going on here, then people might speculate, maybe, oh crap, is something going on? Is Colonel Gillis being deployed, or is God forbid he's being let go or something? Like those might circulate in people's minds, but the fact that they're hearing it from you directly and that you're excited about it is pretty cool. I think it's going to be awesome, but kind of unexpected. I know some people probably knew that you were getting ready to get done here shortly, but I know I didn't know, but that was pretty neat. How do you feel about, real quick before we wrap this up, how do you feel about retirement and all that stuff? You got a long career out here, so.
Well, it'll be 19 days short of 36 years in uniform.
Wow.
Come next April. Wow. It's a tough transition.
Yeah.
I'll tell you, I just went to the transition assistance program down at Hanscom last week, and it's next April, right? You're talking about it, you're doing stuff, but sitting in that TAP class, it was like,
oh, this is real.
This is real.
Yeah.
This is gonna happen. Damn proud to be a MAINEiac. The day that I don't wake up in the morning, put the uniform on, probably going to be a little tough. But I'm hopeful that MAINEiac traditions live on. And if that's the case, then, every day I'm not here, I know it's still going on. So that's kind of my connection to the organization still. And, yeah, it'll be a tough transition. The next 6 months are going to be filled of those days of, oh, that's the last time I'm ever going to do that again. And so that's kind of tough when you think my entire adult life has been in uniform. So the TAP class was the beginning of my learning how to be a civilian, and that journey will continue over the next 8 months. So.
Well, luckily you've got plenty of friends that have kind of gone through it, and then you'll continue to have friends that are out here, and you'll stay in touch, which is awesome.
Yeah.
And it's very evident your invested interest in what this organization does and what your MAINEiac family is doing is very evident. I think that people are going to recognize that and see that, including yourself. But that's great, sir. I think it's good news. And for anybody who didn't hear the news yet or doesn't have access to their email, there is that. But is there anything you'd like to add, sir?
Well, I guess I'll sum it up with, Colonel Newell. He's our next wing commander. And I think it's a unique opportunity for us at the right time to have that national level leader come help move that legacy of the MAINEiac tradition forward. And I really hope that the entire wing joins me in supporting that effort. Colonel Newell can't do it alone. And most certainly MAINEiacs don't do it alone ever. So embrace him as a new MAINEiac, and help him move the organization forward. And then for me personally, I'd like to thank all of our MAINEiacs for everything they do, and just say that I can't be prouder of my MAINEiac family. And with that, we'll call it a podcast.
Roger that, sir. Thanks a lot, and thanks for everything.
Thanks.
We'll do this again before you move on.
I'm sure you'll have one more try at me, I'm sure.
For any quote junkies out there, I failed to mention who's responsible for the line in my previous recording. Change is inevitable, growth is optional. You can thank John Maxwell for that one, arguably one of the best authors of all time regarding leadership books. I recommend giving him a Google. Keep that quote in mind as we welcome Colonel Newell in the coming months. But really, in all aspects of our lives, growth is optional. We have the choice to decide if we want to grow from inevitable change. I hope you all are enjoying your summer and staying safe. We'll have another episode out before September drill, so be sure to look for that. Google 101st ARW for all of our socials. Don't drink and drive. And last but certainly not least, take care of yourselves. Take care of each other. Thanks.